Hey, what are you doing Friday night? You want to go try 16 bubble teas? Huh? Hello world, welcome to Toronto, arguably North America's bubble tea capital. Now, no hate on Vancouver, LA, New York, or San Francisco, but where else are you gonna find almost 20 different cafes in a half-block radius? We went to 16 different cafes and ordered their classic black milk tea to see which one would come out on top. Now, while there is some debate on the origins of bubble tea, or boba tea as I noticed they call it on the West Coast, but for the uninitiated, it's a sweet tea-based drink that's served with tapioca pearls at the bottom. It's commonly served on ice with milk. Now, Toronto has a lot more cafes than just the ones in this block, but with a density this high, we really wanted to see if you walked into Midland and Finch, which cafe should you go to? Now for the contestants. We've got High Tea, Tiger Sugar, Zing Fu Tang, Boba Boy, Gong Cha, Cha Plus, The Alley, Royalty, Share Tea, Coco, Feng Cha, Sun Tea, Cha Time, Hey Sugar, Happy Lemon, and Snow Tea. If you're not interested in finding out how to set up a double-blind, single elimination, quad round, tournament style study, you can click this link here to skip to the results. In no particular order, we assigned each bubble tea with a letter. Our administrator then poured a small amount into a shot glass that was labeled with the associated letter. We made sure that at no point, none of our judges knew which bubble tea they were drinking or which letter was associated to what. Each judge would take 2 bubble teas, try them, and decide which one was better. This bubble tea moved on to the next round and gained 1 point. That'll become more important later. As the rounds went on, we eliminated half of the teas in each bracket until we were left with a single winner per judge. Finally, we added up all of the points each tea got and calculated our results for each judge. As with any tournament, there was a risk that 2 heavy hitters would go up against each other too early and eliminate one another. To account for this, we reshuffled each tea with each letter and made sure that no 2 judges had the same lineup of teas. Gong Cha came out the winner for me, Tori gave it to Coco, Mun gave it to Zing Fu Tang, and Mo also gave it to Coco. Starting at the bottom, Hey Sugar got no points. Then, tied for 7th with 1 point each, Boba Boy, Cha Plus, Happy Lemon, High Tea, and Royalty. Tied for 6th with 2 points, Feng Cha and Snow Tea. Tied for 5th with 3 points, Sun Tea and The Alley. Tied for 4th with 5 points, Share Tea and Zing Fu Tang. 3rd, Tiger Sugar with 7 points. Tied for 2nd with 8 points, Cha Time and Coco. And Gong Cha was our clear winner with 12 points. Gong Cha really surprised me by being our winner. I remember them opening up in the Markham-Scarborough area about 7 years ago. I went and tried it and thought it was pretty mediocre back then. Well, maybe they've improved their formula or my taste buds have just developed a little bit, because back then I didn't give it a second chance, but I guess I was missing out.
But I really like tea. It's really nice and sweet.
Just tastes like a better tea because the tea stands out more.
K is very clean. Like
K-
out of all of them, K tastes the neatest.
It's clean, it's light, it has a good tea taste without being overwhelming. While we were streaming, we got a lot of questions asking how did Cha Time make it into your top 2? It's so mainstream. Now I know a lot of hipsters are gonna turn up their nose and say, oh ho ho, avoid Cha Time. It continuously won rounds and got points, making it into the finals or semifinals almost every single time. Now, maybe our taste buds are just basic and we like sweet milky drinks, but I think Cha Time's got a winner on their hands if you're into just classic black milk teas.
Tastes like what? I think this is what bubble tea should taste like.
Yep. Sweet, good body, not much aftertaste.
This one's kind of milky. Tastes really familiar.
Coco is probably the most ubiquitous bubble tea cafe in the city. It feels like there's one on every street corner. Well, at 8 points, it tied with Cha Time, one of the heaviest hitters in the industry.
It's like sweet and you get like the tea flavor. It's a little bit overwhelming, so you have to take sips at a time. But it's very rich. I like it because it's super rich.
I love Tiger Sugar's boba. I specifically go there for their tapioca drinks. It's so soft, but not mushy, and ever so slightly sweet. And they also have the little ones, so they feel better in your mouth. But I was actually kind of sad that we didn't get to test the boba for Tiger Sugar, but also surprised that even without the boba, the thing that they kind of market themselves for still won 3rd place.
It tastes like it's not too sweet, it's not too watery.
Okay,
it's not
Goldilocks,
too
so what
sweet,
does it
it's
mean?
Like in the middle, you know?
It's full-bodied, so it has a good mouthfeel, but it doesn't leave the oily taste behind. So.
Something to note though is that Zhangfu Tang doesn't actually serve a classic black milk tea. All of their teas include a brown sugar boba base, and even though we asked for their regular black milk tea, they ended up sweetening it with brown sugar. Now, I feel like that might have given them a bit of an advantage. That earthy, sweet, syrupy texture is oh so irresistible, and that might have contributed a lot to it getting one of the top spots. But since they added to all of their teas, I think it's fair to leave them in as a contestant with an asterisk.
I like it because it's so sweet. Like, it's very sugary. It's brown sugar, I think. And it's very sweet and like thick. Like, I really like thick sweet drinks.
It's like a milk tea with brown sugar added to it. It's not a brown sugar tea, but instead of normal
Sweetener?
sweetener, normal whitener, it is the brown sugar.
Now, while the alley did make it into our top 8, it barely squeezed by, getting 3 points, only one more than Fengcha and Snow Tea, which both had 2. Now, I know the alley is a fan favorite. I love their Royal No. 9 with that hint of blueberry in the background, but I think I'm gonna stick to their signature drink and avoid their classic black milk tea.
It's like really milky. It tastes good, but it's kind of weak.
This tastes like tea bags.
But it does not taste like bubble tea. It tastes like, what's it, orange pekoe / coffee.
I actually don't want to spend too much time on our bottom tier of teas. They mostly had similar comments, like it was watery or bland, or you could barely taste the tea flavor at all. I was actually pretty disappointed because most of them came from more niche cafes like Fengcha and Snow Tea. I was really hoping they'd give the international franchises a run for their money like Cha Time and Coco. Sad to say, they all got lumped at the bottom.
This is that. This actually tastes like water.
It tastes like nothing.
Really watered down. And it's very like, you taste the bubble tea for a second and then it's not there.
It's like milk. Clearly just milk.
I think it is fascinating that Hey Sugar got 0 points. That means out of 4 people, it did not clear the first round even once. It didn't beat any of the other bubble teas that it went up against in that first round. Now, maybe Hey Sugar has some other great drinks, but if you're in it for a classic black milk tea, Hey Sugar might be one to avoid.
Oh, this one's like water.
This is the sort of thing that if I got at a store, I would go back and demand a refund.
Alright, time for some caveats. We wanted to make sure that this test was as fair as possible, only testing the quality of the tea and nothing else. That means all we ordered was an original black milk tea with no ice, no tapioca, and regular sugar. Since we went to 16 different places, it actually took us almost an hour and a half to get all of our bubble teas together. That's why we didn't get any ice or tapioca in them. We didn't want the melting of the ice or the dissolving of the tapioca to factor into the taste of the actual tea itself. Something else we didn't include in this test was the price. All of the bubble teas were priced about from $5 to $7 Canadian. We thought this was close enough to omit the price factor, but if you are curious, take a look in the description for a link to the raw data. Alright, thanks for joining us on this wild adventure. It was a lot of fun trying 16 different bubble teas. If you want to see us do something like this again, maybe with different teas, a different area, or even different foods, drop it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. See you next time on 6 Rounds.